It's time for Global Insight. On Wednesday, the largest Smart City tech exhibition in Asia will open in the northern city of Goyang, gathering more than 20,000 visitors from 60 countries and 200 cities. Now, smart cities are not just high-tech spaces with upgraded infrastructure, but digital solutions to our everyday lives, work and environment. And at the KINTEX Exhibition Centre, scores of cities and companies will showcase how they're bringing the future to their cities, adding convenience, connectivity and sustainability. We speak to key participants today to get their insights on what the cities of tomorrow will look like. And we have in the studio Andrew Lim, Research and Innovation Attaché at the Government of Quebec in Seoul, and Youmani Lankoande, CEO of Yulcom Technologies based in Canada. Very warm welcome to you both. Thank you so much for joining us in studio today. And my first question goes to you, Andrew. Now, the Smart City Expo is opening today on Wednesday, and well, first, this year, what is going to be the main focus of the exhibition?
So, thank you for inviting us. Yes, when we think about smart cities, it's probably like everything. People think about transportation, all that, but this year, the focus or their, slogan is Digital Earth Connecting Together. But that also sounds like probably everything. But you could kind of see from this slogan, they're focusing a little bit more on clean technology environment because that is the big issue of the day. And some of the other themes they do are like policy and global cooperation, infrastructure and building, data and digital tech, environment, energy, and governance. But what I think is most interesting here is when we think about smart cities, people usually think about technology, but they put in policy and global cooperation because they do realize you can't just do smart cities alone. You have to share knowledge, you have to be innovative together. That's why I've invited some Quebec companies, and maybe I could kind of talk about some of those companies very briefly. So that some of the Quebec companies and startups that we invited to Korea to partake in this conference, I'll talk about some of those. One of them is called IP Toki. They do AI authentication. Another one is called Makila AI. They do data optimization for businesses. Another company is called EMA. They do emotional analytics and AI. Another company is called Aeroport AI, and they do AI for airport optimization, which is very needed these days. Right. There's also Yulcom Tech we'll talk about very soon. Herbia Era that does smart farming. And last but not least, Funar Tech that does AI and also in logistics and business. So we do have an exciting lineup of Quebec companies that wanted to work with Korea. And that's why we're here today.
Right. And well, we've actually discussed smart cities before, but one of the latest sort of buzzwords that we're hearing is the Metaverse, of course. And how do you see the Metaverse being applied throughout smart cities?
So that is a very good question. I think a lot of the people have heard of this phrase Metaverse, especially because of Corona, all the untact ways of working. So Metaverse, I think some people kind of know what that is. It is doing some of the public services or doing things that you normally do in real life online. So you might have an avatar, you might use this avatar to talk with public officials to get some registration or documents going. So people are trying to use the Metaverse to help especially the vulnerable. Because if you think about the Metaverse, some people who are physically challenged and cannot meet city officials to get their registration in their offices, they could just log on, create their avatar, authenticate themselves, and actually get public services through digital, methods without just typing a couple of things. It's more interactive. You could talk about some of your grievances. So I think it's a very good tool to especially address some of the needs that the vulnerable people have. Also for the Metaverse, a similar technology they use for the Metaverse is called the digital twin technology. Basically what this is kind of taking what's in real life and putting into the digital world. And why this is important is sometimes you would need to simulate some certain solutions by using data, tweaking things, and sometimes that's not possible. For example, maybe it's traffic data you want to tweak, but you can't necessarily control the cars or easily control the traffic situation when it's actually people driving there. So you might do this online in a digital world and see how tweaking this would optimize the traffic or not. So another way people use the Metaverse is through digital twin technology. And another really cool way how Quebec uses this is Quebec has some companies that do Metaverse, hologram, this kind of technology. For example, there's a company called OVA. And what they do is they have hologram technology, Metaverse technology not just for the public sphere, but they use it for the creative industries. Quebec is very well known for the creative industries. They have cool creative industry companies like Cirque du Soleil, so they're incorporating this kind of metaverse, creative technology to the creative industry to give entertainment for the people. So there's a lot of different ways.
Multi-purpose platform that they can use. And right, so Jerome, now turning to you, smart cities, they're evolving as we speak. And the expo that you're taking part in, it's going to provide somewhat of a preview of what to expect from smart cities. So what are some of the biggest trends that you're really anticipating?
Okay. Again, thank you for having us. I think the next big thing we're going to see in smart cities is going to be probably technologies that are helping to face the issues we are facing right now. The first issue is probably the environment. And the second one is going to be the energy crisis. And the third one going to be, I would say, healthcare, because after the COVID, we also that it's very important that we change our system, our IT system in hospitals, and we also use more and more technologies. And overall, I would say we have to face, as a solution provider, we have to face the three important challenges: environment, energy, healthcare. But we also can say overall it's going to be about the economy, because in the end, the economy is very important to create more jobs, and we're going to see more and more solutions toward that. And I also think another trend we're going to see is, instead of having top-down projects in smart cities, we're going to having more and more bottom-up solutions, bottom-up projects, because so far the projects have been, I would say, technology-oriented. We're going to turn the focus to have it more citizen-focused, citizen-oriented, and that's going to help probably move forward in terms of the big trends.
Right, and I believe you're providing some of the solutions to help really enable that kind of bottom-up approach. And what kind of solutions are you working on currently?
At Yulcom, we deliver AI-powered decision-making software for government and for the enterprise. And what we are doing is to help collect the data and also to use the data to leverage on AI to pull in and make sense of all the data, various data stream, and to create new solutions. That's how we're going to help the government. Of course, we think it should be bottom-up solutions. That's why we'll be waiting for the governments and the cities to come up with their project, and we're going to help them.
I see. And now, Andrew, smart cities, of course, they're all about being connected and being livable, sustainable. We hear all the big buzzwords there. But a number of cities like Seoul, they've already hit many of those. I guess they fit much of the description there. And what will it take to go to the next step? So how can smart cities become even smarter, basically?
So it is true, Seoul has been rated usually #1 in smart cities around the world. So they have many interesting projects from citizen engagement to traffic, etc. But some of the things they really need to do is kind of congregate all that technology together in terms of system integration. So for example, let's say there's a smart parking system in a parking lot. So that kind of consists of a scanning system for the license plate. You know, they could pay via credit card, etc. But what true system integration means is to have this perhaps on an app so that people could see how many parking lots are there, so you don't have to wait, you don't have to cause congestion through traffic from parking lots, et cetera, et cetera. But what's more important is some of these technologies actually somewhat exist. But what they really need to do is to take it to the next level, let the citizens know about this. So they do have their public campaigns, et cetera, but quite often if you ask people about smart cities in Seoul, sometimes they don't know about some of these key solutions. So it's really important to get the citizens involved, to let them know these things exist to increase your quality of life. So please use it. And yes, I'm not saying Seoul doesn't do that at all, but maybe they should focus on this more now that the smart city, all that stuff is quite established. So that's one of the things they would need to do to make it into a more smarter city. Some of the cool other trends that Seoul and the world and are doing is, obviously we're all worried about the environment. You've seen on the news all the the natural disasters and pollution and all that. So clean tech is some of the things Seoul, Korea, but also Canada and Quebec is spearheading. So for example, many of the many of the governments, they have their own strategies. They announced their 5-year plan on smart cities and et cetera. And Quebec actually recently announced their we call it SQRI, or Strategy Québécois Research, Investment, Innovation. And they outline some of the trends and strategies that the government needs to partake with the citizens, with the experts, with the universities to get the, I guess, smart or resilient cities going. And there has been a lot of collaboration between Korea and Quebec actually in this regard. For example, one example is Quebec specializes in some environmental technologies like battery recycling. We don't hear about these kind of things. We hear about battery manufacturing, but what about all the EVs and all those batteries, where they're going to go? So Quebec has these kind of cool technology. The company is called Lithium Recycling. So they're able to recycle around 95% of all the key materials, lithium, iron, for example. And just recently, they signed an agreement with a Korean company called IS Tongsa. This is public information that people could know. And they've done this to kind of work on this together, because Korea is a big powerhouse in terms of EV battery manufacturing, and Quebec has some of the innovative technology to address some of the issues that come with these kind of things. So clean tech is another big one. And Korea too, but Quebec, we are focusing on local development. So quite often what we do is we kind of cluster certain zones. So in Quebec, it's called innovation zones. And another cool new trend is in the quantum tech. For example, quantum cryptography, et cetera. So they have designated certain parts like quantum Sherbrooke, or another area called intelligent electronic system, to be able to kind of foster innovation with the universities, with the experts in that area. So this kind of, I think, I guess, top-down but also bottom-up trends, I think we'll see this a lot more in the future.
So it sounds like there are definitely very high-tech solutions being applied here, and it's really the government's also role to promote this to the citizens and explain things and really break it down so that they can actually start partaking in this city, smart city development. And that leads to the question I had for you next. So we hear a lot about smart city infrastructure, how connected everything is, how fast it is, etc. But what does it really mean to design a smart city with a community in mind?
Designing a smart city with the community in mind is, for us as developers, is putting more emphasis on the data protections and also putting more effort on inclusive software. What is inclusive software? Nowadays, there's a lot of bias in AI development, and it's a big challenge because when you develop a software for like a city, we want to make sure everybody has access to the services and everybody has treated fairly. That means also, like, if there is like a hiring process, we want to make sure like men are not favored over women. Like, that's an example of bias in terms of software development. For the data protection, one of the problems we have nowadays is that many people are skeptical about smart cities because of their data, their personal data. They want to make sure, they want to know that there's no data breach. We're going to know that there's no data breach in days to come when they share their information. And for us, it's develop software that are secure and that are like very easy to handle for the government, or also very secure.
Right, and that's actually part of my next question, actually. So in terms of data and personal information, there are obviously very big concerns about this. How are you planning to really provide data protection without compromising the quality of the smart city solution?
That's a good question. It's very easy right now to develop very secure solutions. And we are using encryption for that. Encryption is one of the solutions to make sure that we won't have data breach, and also keeping the quality of the software. The second thing we are using is the technology of the blockchain. It really helps on that. And of course, we still have to follow some guidelines, some policies. And I know most of the government are working on that. And like Europe is leading the game in terms of policies regarding software security and personal data, and they call it GDPR. I don't know if you know about it. So we have to follow these guidelines to make sure that the software, the quality is still good, and also it's difficult for hacker to get in our information.
I'm afraid we're running out of time, so this will have to be my last question. But Jerome, so you're in South Korea now to take part in this expo as a Canadian company. And well, what do you make of South Korea's smart city scenery, and in what ways do you hope to collaborate?
Look, so far it's been educative for me because I learn a lot about what's going on here. And what I can say, first of all, is that in South Korea, most of the smart cities projects are driven by public companies, and they are really good at smart city project management. And let's illustrate that with the example of Sejong. It's a really very good project where smart city is really underway. And also we can what I saw in Anshon. Anshon is another very good example where we are using breakthrough technologies to develop solutions for water management, solutions for smart transportation, and so on. I also saw another project in Busan. That's very educative too. And I think South Korea is definitely a leader in terms of smart city in the world, and we have many things to learn about it. And hopefully I'm going to see more and more collaboration between South Korea and Canada.
Well, it looks like you've certainly made your way around the in South Korea. Well, we look forward to more collaborations coming your way, hopefully. And well, I'm afraid this is where we'll have to end our interview today. But that was Andrew Lim, Research and Innovation Attaché at the Government of Quebec and Seoul, and Youmani Jerome Lankoande, CEO of Yulcom Technologies. Thank you both so much for your time today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.